My beloved child, there are silent yet forceful movements taking place in the unseen realm, things that the natural eye cannot perceive, but your spirit has begun to sense, like a strange breeze brushing gently across your soul in the depths of the night. The days ahead are not merely a series of routine moments unfolding on the human calendar. They are pivotal pieces in the heavenly blueprint, where destinies will be shaped, shifted, or awakened suddenly and with great intensity. Even though you cannot yet fully see or understand all that is about to unfold in this turbulent month upon the earth, I, who dwell beyond the boundaries of time and space, have already seen everything, long before it ever came into being, and now I choose to reveal this to you, not to instill fear, but to prepare you with unwavering strength. For you are part of this divine design, and what is coming will not bypass your life. You are not a mere spectator standing on the sidelines watching the storm sweep through the world. You are positioned at the very center of the wind of transformation. 3 events are drawing near, each one a powerful wave that will shake the layers of human existence. And without preparation, many hearts will crumble, many families will break apart, and countless souls will lose their bearings in the darkness. But I love you far too much to let you walk blindly. I love you. That's why I speak beforehand. I love you. That's why I sound the trumpet in the stillness of night. Open your heart now. Do not cover it with the shell of logic or old experiences, for what I am about to share will surpass all patterns of thinking you've ever known. The first thing that will come will strike like a sudden bolt of lightning. Exposure. I will uncover what has been hidden. Secrets that have slumbered in darkness for many years will be brought into the light, not only on the scale of nations, organizations, or powerful individuals, but also within families, relationships, and the depths of human hearts. I, the one who holds every secret buried in the earth, and every unspoken word lodged in the human soul, will be the one to lift the veil that has covered them for so long. Nothing will be allowed to remain in the shadows any longer. What was once hidden, in books, in minds, in relationships, in places of worship, and even deep within the soul, will be exposed. Things thought to be forgotten or cleverly disguised behind reputation, position, or a veneer of false holiness will find no place to hide. For I am light, and light does not tolerate darkness. When I step in, every shadow must tremble and vanish. I speak this to you not to cause alarm, but to ready you, because this unveiling will not only happen far away, on the news in someone else's life, but it will reach into corners of your own heart you thought no one would ever see. I will lead you to confront the things you've long avoided, the decisions you once explained away with fear, and the layers you used to protect your image. Not to condemn you, but to rescue you, for a soul that never faces the truth can never walk in complete freedom. Imagine a room that has been sealed for years, where no light has ever entered, where dust, cobwebs, and mildew have claimed every corner. I am opening that door, not to shame you, but to let the wind of heaven rush in, to let the light drive out the dark, so that you may breathe again the air of true life. And you will be surprised by the weight that lifts when you no longer have to carry the burden of secrecy, the strain of pretending, the weariness of saying one thing while thinking another. I know the things you've hidden out of fear of being rejected. I know the mistakes you haven't dared to confess, fearing that I would turn away. But oh, my child, I loved you when you were still dust. My love for you has never been based on the version of truth you presented. It has always been unconditional. So why continue living in illusion, under peeling layers of paint, trapped in words repeated but void of life? There are relationships that will unravel when the truth is revealed. There are people once admired who will lose their place of honor. There are systems once revered that will crumble. But my child, do not fear, for I never dismantle anything unless I intend to rebuild something far better in its place. What I expose is not to destroy, but to restore. And you will come to see clearly that only what is built upon a foundation of truth can remain standing when the fierce winds blow. In this season, you will relearn what it means to walk in humility. You will recognize the worth of a heart that walks in integrity. You will come to understand that being honest with yourself is the first step into the divine destiny I have prepared for you. As you approach a virtue, you may weep. You may feel hollow as you come to terms with the fact that things you once believed to be true were nothing more than masks. But healing will come, because it is the truth itself, though it may first cut like a sharp blade, that becomes the loving surgical hand which removes the infections from your soul. And when the healing has run its course, you will walk lighter, live freer, speak more honestly, and draw nearer to me than ever before. I do not want you to live a counterfeit version of yourself. I do not want you to repeat the phrase, "I'm fine," when inside your heart is screaming. I did not design you to be a puppet that can smile but cannot feel. I formed you to live genuinely, to love deeply, to stumble honestly, to rise courageously, and ultimately to overcome truly. So do not run when I begin to stir the things that have long been buried. Be brave enough to face them. Offer everything to me, from the childhood wounds to the distorted ways of thinking. Let me rewrite your story, not with assumptions spoken by others or the condemning voices in your head, but with the truth. Let me wash you with the waters of grace and clothe you in the robe of righteousness born of truth. In the end, you will see clearly the path you once thought was non-existent, was always there, only hidden beneath the fog of falsehoods. When you let truth come in, light follows. And when the light pours in, every door I have ordained for you will begin to open, one by one. My beloved, the second thing is drawing near like a silent wave that cannot be stopped. It is the spiritual shift, a divine exchange I have long decreed in the eternal realm, and now it begins to touch the earth. Not all transformations announce themselves with noise. Not every turning point comes with trumpet blasts. Some shifts arrive as quietly as a whisper, yet when they unfold, they alter the entire course of a soul's journey. These are movements from my hand, and when I move something, no one can anchor it in place. I will begin to move people out of positions once thought immovable, places where they have dwelled for years, places where they built dreams, places they called home. I will quietly enter, shake the foundations, and lead them out. Not because I intend to harm, but because if they remain, they will lose themselves. Human hearts often cling to stability, to the illusion of safety, even when that safety comes at the cost of a withering soul. But I am the God of life, and life cannot thrive in long stagnation. So I come to shift. You will witness jobs that once offered security being stripped away. Relationships once thought to be forever will come to an end. Doors you pleaded to be opened will suddenly close without warning. And when this happens, your soul may panic, your heart may ache. But child, do not call it loss. Call it leading. Because everything I do, whether closing or opening, whether removing or preserving, flows from a love too deep to measure and a plan higher than you can ever imagine. Do not mourn the places you must leave behind, even if they once served as your refuge. Do not cling to relationships that have reached their final chapter, even if they were once your source of comfort. For when I move you from a position, it is because you have fulfilled your purpose there. And when you are relocated, it means I am drawing you closer to where you truly belong. New assignments await you. There are fields, still untouched, waiting for your hands to harvest. There are souls who will only be awakened when you arrive at the exact place and moment I have ordained. I know there will be moments when you feel lost amidst the whirlwind of transitions. You will wonder if you have strayed off course, if you have left something precious behind. But it is precisely in that disorientation that you will learn to cling more tightly to me. You will discover a kind of faith that no longer depends on external circumstances, but on the quiet voice I whisper into your spirit. I am here. I am the one leading you, and as you walk, step by step, through unfamiliar terrain, you will begin to realize that your feet are touching something more sacred than the faded dreams you once held so tightly. When old doors close, remember this: it is my hand that locked them, not to punish you, but to protect you from what no longer nourishes you. A tree cannot grow if its roots remain in soil that has been drained of life, and neither can your soul. I must uproot you from the old in order to plant you in the land of promise. In the days to come, you may not immediately understand why everything changed so rapidly and so completely, but one day, when you look back, you will see that every fracture, every departure, every tear was a stone I used to pave the path toward your true destiny. I am calling you to step out from what is familiar into what is divinely guided. I do not promise that the journey will be easy, but I do promise that you will not walk it alone. In every trembling step, my angels go before you to prepare the way. In every moment of confusion, my voice will whisper to guide you. And in every unexpected shift, there is a solid orchestration unfolding from eternity. Do not fear the movement, my child. Receive it as a heavenly invitation. For if you walk with me, you will never be truly lost, even when the destination remains unseen. Transition is not merely about a change in geography or circumstance. It is an inner pilgrimage, the breaking down of outdated thought patterns, the letting go of things that once defined you, so that you may be reshaped by me alone. And when that process is complete, you will stand in the very place your soul was always meant to inhabit, a place no one can take from you, where divine responsibilities await to be placed in your hands. My child, let your heart be as soft as moist earth, so I may reshape your being according to heaven's original design. And when you arrive at this new place, even if it looks nothing like what you imagined, you will recognize it as the place you were created to live, to grow, to influence, and to shine. Not in the way you would have chosen, but in the way I ordained long before the foundation of the world. My beloved, now I want to speak to you about what is greatest and soon to come, a reality inscribed in the book of life since before time began, a moment that all of heaven now watches with sacred anticipation. It is the season of unveiling. Not a glamorous debut by the standards of the world, but the rising of those whom I have refined in secret, hidden like seeds in the soil, waiting for the appointed time to bloom in a way that only I could have foreordained. Hiding in the depth of age, waiting for the appointed time to bloom in a way that only I could have foreordained. Have you ever felt forgotten, left behind, quietly swallowed up by the shadows of things unfulfilled? Have you ever sat alone in a nameless room, writing dreams no one could understand, praying words no one seemed to hear, crying tears no hand came to wipe away? I have seen it all. And what you need to know is this: not a single day spent in the dark was meaningless. I placed you there, not because you lacked value, but because you were being planted for an appointed hour of glory. That hour is drawing near, my child. The moment when I will call your name among the multitudes. The moment when I will testify on your behalf before those who once mocked you, despised you, and believed you would remain unknown forever. The moment when I will testify on your behalf before those who once mocked you, despised you, and believed you would remain unknown. There are those whom the world has overlooked, yet I have held them as treasures in my hand. There are souls I have hidden away to protect them from the devouring nature of counterfeit glory. For if glory arrives before refinement is complete, it will burn the very one who receives it. But I am the one who works with perfect wisdom. I do not thrust you into the light until you are strong enough to carry it without losing yourself. And my beloved, if you allow me to prune you, to shape what is still unfinished, you will become the very vessel I use to awaken a generation lost in the dark. I have planted dreams in your heart that exceed your understanding. I have sown visions into your soul that you cannot explain to others because they did not come from within you, but from heaven. I have led you through journeys no one has seen, no one has affirmed, but every step was accompanied by my footsteps beside you. Every step was accompanied by my footsteps beside you. The prophetic words once spoken over your life, though they may have been forgotten, delayed, or even denied, none of them have been forgotten by me. They are still in motion, and the season of fulfillment is near. But you must understand this: I am never in a hurry. The unveiling I prepare is not for a fleeting applause, but to position you for lasting impact. It is a revealing not merely to the world, but first and foremost to your truest self, the one I have molded through tears, through prayer, and through obedience in the hidden places. Yet glory does not descend upon chaos. I cannot fill a vessel that still contains mud. Fame cannot rest upon a life that has not been refined. You cannot carry bitterness, resentment, and fleshly ambition into the place I am opening for you. For that place, where your name will be called, is where your soul must be clean enough to reflect my glory, not your own. That is why I am using this current season to purify you. Do not resent the process. Do not reject correction. Do not resist the refining fire, for it is the very flame that will cause you to shine like pure gold. Let me remove from you the things that no longer fit the high calling you are about to carry. I may take away old habits, relationships that no longer breathe life, and crutches that once kept you from seeking me wholeheartedly. I do this not to harm you, but to liberate you, to make you light and steady enough to step boldly into your season of unveiling. a season where both heaven and earth will witness someone preordained to reveal the glory of the Creator. Do not think you have to strive in order to be chosen. You have already been chosen. What I ask of you now is faithfulness. Faithfulness in the dark. Faithfulness when no one applauds. Faithfulness in the small and the quiet things. For that very faithfulness is the sign that you are ready for something greater. And when I see that your longing is no longer to be seen by people, but only to be seen by me, that is when I will raise you up openly, not in the way you expected, but in a way only I can do. When I lift your name from the lowest places and place it in the center of my mighty hand, so that the whole world will know, you were never the product of luck, but the living proof of a sacred process. This month is not merely another cycle on the lunar or solar calendar. It is a divinely appointed time. This is a sacred hour, and you must awaken. Do not live like one who sleepwalks through life, caught in the whirlwind of news, emotions, and public opinion. Live like someone who carries light into the darkness. Live like one whose vision transcends the limits of time. Live like someone who has heard the voice of their Father and knows they were not born to fade into obscurity, but to mark this world with a presence that bears the fragrance of heaven. Be ready, my child, not with weapons of the flesh, but with humility, prayer, spiritual sensitivity, and wholehearted obedience. What is coming will shake the foundations of the world, but it will also align those who belong to me in the right place at the right moment. And if you follow that call, you will not only be preserved, but you will become an instrument in the great work I am beginning. I am waiting for you, not because I need more time to prepare, but because I long for you to step into this in full awareness and holy boldness. My child, the time has come for you to face what you've long disguised under polished names like caution, wisdom, or discernment. But I do not look at the outer labels. I see through to the core. I know the fear that has been quietly gnawing at your soul, not like a violent storm that's easily recognized, but like a slow, silent rain that rots the roots beneath the surface. It is quiet, persistent, and dangerously subtle, for it has held you back from moving forward. It has planted doubt about your worth. It has kept you at arm's length from the very things I have called you to. You've grown accustomed to living with it, as though it were a natural part of you. But I tell you the truth. This is not your inheritance. This is not what belongs to you. You were not born to live a life of shrinking back. I did not breathe my breath into you so you could merely survive in fear. You were born to walk in strength and stability, to carry the imprint of heaven on earth, to break through limitations that generations before you succumbed to, and to rise from the very ground where dreams of those before you lay buried. So why, my child, do you still draw back when I call? Why do you move 2 steps forward, only to retreat again? Why do you still fear you are not good enough, not strong enough, not spiritual enough, not worthy enough? I see that fear and I do not condemn you. I know it wasn't born in a moment. It grew from the criticisms that echoed in your ears since childhood. It took root through the failures you endured. It clung to your soul through every comparison made by others, and even more painfully, through the ones you made against yourself. But today, no more, my child, no more. This month, I will set a fire within your soul, not a fire to destroy or punish, but a purifying flame from above, a fire of love and power. It will reach deep into the roots of every fear, every lie that has clung to you like moss on stone, like vines entangling your soul. It will burn away every whisper that said you're not enough, you will fail, you were not chosen. Every one of those lies will be consumed. Every veil that clouded your sight will be lifted, and when the fire has passed through, you will feel lighter. You will look back in astonishment, realizing how long you lived under the weight of something that never came from me. Do not resist the fire, my child. Do not run from it. Do not try to cling to the remnants of fear as if they were necessary for your survival. They are not. They were never part of your spiritual design. Let the fire I have sent burn within your spirit. Let it consume the locked rooms you've never allowed anyone to enter, not even me. Let it pass through every memory that caused you to shrink back, every dream you abandoned halfway, every moment you stopped because you were afraid to be wrong, afraid of what others might think, afraid you wouldn't be enough. And you will see. What comes after the fire is not desolation. It is brilliance. The light of your true self will emerge, the one I saw before the foundation of the world, the one I have loved completely, the one I have chosen to carry heaven's message into this world. You thought you needed to be flawless in order to be used by me. But what I desire from you is not perfection, it is surrender. I seek a heart that will say, I am not enough, but you are more than enough. When you release fear, that is when you swing open the door for grace to rush in. And you will witness a miracle unfold. You will do things you once thought impossible, speak words you once believed too grand for your lips, walk through doors you never dared to knock upon, because now you no longer walk by your own strength, but by the power I have placed within you through the fire of my Spirit. Do not mourn the days you lived in fear, because those very days set the stage for miracles to be revealed. It is in the darkness that light shines brightest. It is when you feel most exhausted that I can become your true strength. And once you step out of the old land of fear, you will never want to return. You will know what it means to live free, to live fully, to live as the one I created you to be. So this month, when you feel a stirring deep in your soul, when your heart feels unsettled, like something is igniting from within, do not extinguish it. That is the fire I have sent. Open your heart. Stretch out your arms. Say, burn away everything that is not from you. And I promise you, when that fire has passed through, you will no longer be the same. You will stand tall. You will speak with conviction. You will act with boldness, not because you no longer feel fear, but because you have chosen no longer to be ruled by it. You will become a living witness to a generation desperate to see what happens when a person dares to let the fire of heaven touch them and transform them from the inside out. You will no longer just recount miracles. You will be the miracle. And when others look at you, they will not see someone who was never afraid. They will see someone who once trembled, but allowed heaven's fire to set them completely free. My beloved child, even now as I speak to you, a great shifting is sweeping across the face of the earth, like a tidal wave that cannot be stopped. I am stirring the waters that seemed calm for so long. I am disturbing even the deepest layers, the ones humanity believed had been buried forever. The sediments of lies, injustice, and corruption will no longer be permitted to lie undisturbed. That which was once hidden will be brought into the light of truth. No place will be exempt. No system will stand if it has been built on wickedness. The mountains of power will shake. The foundations once believed unshakable will be tested by fire. This is not destruction. It is purification. I am moving across the earth, and my hand is working even in what human eyes cannot perceive. But amid all this shaking, there is one truth I want you to hold above all else. You are not an outsider merely watching from a distance. You are not a bystander trembling at the edges of history. No. You are part of the plan I am unfolding. You have been chosen, called, and prepared long before the first storms began to form. My child, do not be afraid. The storm that is rising is not meant to bury you beneath the rubble. It has come to lift you out of the things that once bound you, confined you, and clouded your vision. It has come to push you out of the old, familiar boat where you've stayed too long and lead you to walk on water where only those who trust dare to step beyond the shoreline. When the storm hits, the world will panic, rushing for shelter, trembling as all they once relied on begins to crack. But you will be different. While the world is in turmoil, you will walk in peace. While hearts collapse in fear, yours will remain steadfast. Do you know why? Because I have prepared you for this moment. Not one tear you have shed was wasted. Not one time you felt like falling did I fail to lift you up. Not one delay occurred without purpose. The nights you felt alone, the moments you were so weary you could only sigh, the days you thought you were forgotten, those were the very places where I trained your soul. They were the deserts where I shaped your will, the dark chambers where I forged your faith, the heavenly workshop where I poured into you things the world could never teach. You may have thought the past years were pointless waiting, but no. The silent seasons were vital movements in the symphony I'm composing for your life. The times you were misunderstood, the moments you chose silence over argument, the times you kept your heart pure while others looked for shortcuts. All of it is proof that you've been walking the right path. These trials were never meant to break you down, but to lay the unshakable foundation of the one you are becoming. Look back, and you will see my fingerprints everywhere. In the patience you never understood how you possessed. In the strange peace that wrapped around you in circumstances that should have crushed you. In the quiet resilience with which you stood again, even when no one applauded or even noticed. That is the mark of the chosen. That is the signature of one being trained to stand strong through shaking. And now, as all things begin to tremble, this is not your cue to withdraw. It is the trumpet sound calling you to rise. I did not form you to flee, but to shine. I did not call you to panic, but to lead. What I have planted in you will bloom in the darkness. And then you will know, all the preparation was never for a small dream, but for a mission far greater than your own limitations. When the counterfeit lights are blown out, you will be the true flame. When the noise around becomes chaos, your voice, if it flows from a place of faithfulness and my leading, will rise like a clear trumpet over the battlefield. I will turn what you've endured into a sharp instrument in my hand. I will cause every crack in your soul to reflect the light of healing. I will make you a living testimony of my power to restore and to redeem. And it is precisely in this time, not before and not later, that I am bringing you out from hiding, not because you are perfect, but because you are ready. Ready to live authentically, ready to stand firm in trust, ready to walk not by emotion, but by conviction, ready to no longer seek the approval of men, but to desire only to please the one who called you with everlasting love. So when you see things around you beginning to shake, remember, this is not the end. This is your invitation. Do not see the stirring as a threat. See it as the clearing of the path I am making space for you to step into. I'm tearing down the walls that have stood in your way so you can take hold of the territory that is rightfully yours. And if you keep walking, keep believing, keep your heart pure, then no storm will ever be able to drown you. On the contrary, it will lift you higher, carrying you to a new place where you no longer live just for yourself, but become a beacon, lit by my own hand, to guide others through the darkness of this hour. My beloved child, in the whirlwind of great shifts unfolding across the earth, in the midst of doors that are closing abruptly and new beginnings poised to break forth, I earnestly invite you to step into something seemingly small, yet powerfully transformative: the quiet awakening. Do not let your soul be swept away by the frenzied rhythm of this life. Do not allow the noise of the world to drown out the gentle yet piercing voice from heaven. In this season, I am seeking hearts that know how to listen, souls that are not rushed, not distracted, but willing to sit, to be still, and to turn their full attention toward me. Be awake, not with eyes widened in anxious vigilance, but with a heart open in reverence and longing. To be awake does not mean living in constant tension. It means your spirit is ready to receive every breeze from my spirit, attentive to even the faintest whisper from me. And that kind of awakening only springs forth when you learn to be still. Not a silence born of weariness or emptiness, but a silence that understands words are not always needed. There are sacred moments that can only be touched in utter quiet, when your heart becomes like a windless lake, reflecting my image in perfect clarity. My child, I am not calling you into stillness as a form of rigid discipline or religious posture. I am not looking for a pious figure so cloaked in formality that it forgets how to be real. I am searching for you, the real you, without pretense or performance. I do not want you to come to me out of obligation. I long for you to come because of love. There is a divine intimacy awaiting you, far beyond scripted prayers or rehearsed songs. It is the place where your soul touches me in the most honest way. In that place, I am not impressed by eloquence, but moved by the rawness of your heart. In the stillness, I will whisper things the world could never teach you. Strategies, directions, paths no one has imagined. I will pour them into you like water from the fountain of life. No drums are needed, no spotlight, just you and me. Just a quiet room, an undistracted moment, a mind free from clutter. In that silence, something extraordinary will begin. I will sketch the blueprints of destiny upon your heart. I will reveal the paths when the world sees only dead ends. I will train you to hear with spiritual ears and see through eyes of faith. You will begin to receive confirmations clearer than ever before. What once seemed vague will become sharp and defined. The questions that once left you puzzled will be answered, not with thunderous declarations, but with the soft whisper of your Heavenly Father. but you will only hear it if you learn to withdraw from the crowd. Be brave enough to step away from the noise surrounding you. Leave the conversations that scatter your focus. Put the phone down. Stop chasing the headlines. Make room, not just in your schedule, but in your soul. Space is not a luxury. It is the meeting place between father and child. It is the threshold of revelation, the table I have set for you in the wilderness, the place where you will be reshaped by my presence. In a world spinning at breakneck speed, I am not asking you to run faster. I am calling you to stop. Stop to listen. Stop to perceive. Stop to take my hand and walk in the right direction. There are things I cannot speak to you about when your heart is scattered. There are mysteries I can only entrust to a soul that knows how to be still before me. Remember, Moses did not hear my voice amidst the crowd. He encountered me in the burning bush, alone in the wilderness. Elijah did not hear me in the earthquake, nor in the fire, nor in the mighty wind. He heard me in the gentle whisper. And so will you. The greatest things awaiting you will not arrive through haste. They come through depth, through slowness, yet with purpose. Through every moment you choose stillness over merely filling your time. And believe this, my beloved, when you begin to truly make time to be present with me, everything else will fall into its proper place. What once seemed unanswerable will become clear. The decisions that once tormented you will feel lighter. I will not only give you wisdom, I will give you peace to walk through the storm without being swept away. And in that sacred quiet, when you have stripped away all the noise and the familiar habits that often drown out my voice, you will begin to hear me more clearly than ever before, not in booming declarations from the outside, but in the gentle stirring deep within your soul. You will realize that I do not need to shout to be heard. My voice may be as soft as a breath, yet it carries the power to still the universe. It is in the silence that I speak, and I say more than you expect. I am speaking in moments you do not anticipate. Do not wait for me to speak only when your prayers are polished and formal. Open your heart in the smallest of things, as you brew a cup of tea, as you walk in quiet places, as you sit alone in the middle of the night. I may place a thought in your spirit even when you think your mind is aimlessly wandering. I may remind you of something while you stand in the marketplace, or even while you're weeping behind closed doors. Do not confine me to a formula. I am the God of every moment, of every space. And once your heart is open, no moment will be wasted. There will be nights when my spirit will breathe upon your soul through dreams. Strange images may appear, things you do not immediately understand, but do not disregard them. Write them down. Treasure those dreams like seeds from heaven. Some dreams are not products of imagination. They are the language of the Spirit I use to speak to your soul in ways the mind cannot intercept. The secrets I wish to unveil, the warnings I must give, the promises I am preparing to fulfill, all of these may begin with a dream scribbled on a torn piece of paper. Do not take it lightly. Learn to see with eyes of faith, for the supernatural always begins in silence and is confirmed through faithfulness. When you open my word, the Bible you've read countless times, I will grant you an entirely new perspective. The passages once so familiar, so memorized, so seemingly well understood will suddenly ignite before your eyes, not because my word has changed, but because you have. A heart that has been prepared will receive deeper revelation. I will cause the letters to burn like fire, will turn a verse once overlooked into a map guiding your next step. I will not let you read absent-mindedly anymore. I will touch every word, every line, until they become living breath, become prophecy, become a perfect encouragement for what you are walking through. There will be days you read, and your tears will fall onto the pages, not because of pain, but because you will realize that I am speaking directly to you through those very words. And in that moment you will understand that my word is never outdated, never dormant. You will experience holy awe when you realize that I had already written the answer for today thousands of years ago, but only now have you become quiet enough to receive it. I am unlocking things you never realized you had access to. Mysteries, deep realms of the spirit, and supernatural strategies will be unveiled little by little to the heart that remains humble and expectant. I will give you new eyes, not those of the flesh, but spiritual sight, to perceive what others cannot, to recognize signs in the midst of a world in turmoil, to read the sacred map even when everything around seems clouded and uncertain. And as I grant you this vision, I will also give you the wisdom not to speak hastily, not to act impulsively, but to hold, to wait, and to walk in the right timing, in the right place, in the right manner. You will begin to see small things through a new lens, repeating patterns, unusual appearances of numbers, words others say that seem to carry a hidden divine weight. These will become messages, not because the world has suddenly become more mysterious, but because you are being refined to become more spiritually attuned. This is the difference between an ordinary observer and one anointed to discern, and you, my child, are being taught to become such a one. Therefore, do not overlook anything. Be as watchful as a sentinel in the night. Record every small stirring you sense, every whisper that moves your heart. Let your mind become fertile ground where I may sow heavenly ideas and keep your heart tender. Do not shut it off with doubt. Do not let it grow callous with logic, but open it like a child awaiting the whisper of a father. My beloved, I am preparing you to step into a season where revelation will come like the rains of monsoon, abundant, profound, and uncontainable by old methods. But I do not want you to be overwhelmed. I want you positioned in stillness, in intimacy, in wakefulness. For when I speak, you will know. When I point, you will move. When I unveil, you will understand. And then, through you, life will flow, light will arise, and my will shall be fulfilled in its entirety, not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit, who is moving, speaking, and revealing more deeply than ever before to the soul that listens. My precious child, not one of your quiet steps has gone unnoticed by me. Every decision you've made in the dark, every time you've chosen what is right, when no applause was heard and no recognition was given, I have recorded it. I see how you wrestle between what you feel and what you know is righteous. I see the tension in your soul when you long to speak, but bow your head instead to guard your heart from confusion. I witness every time you turn away from the temptation of bitterness and instead sow a kind word into what seems like a desert of love. You think it's small, but in my eyes, every such act is a spiritual victory. Though no one may clap, heaven rejoices. You don't realize that every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, obedience over rebellion, love over bitterness, you are preparing a road for my glory to descend. I see the tears you hide behind a smile, the disappointments you bury in order to keep walking in reverence. I have not missed a single moment of the hidden journey you are walking, and I want you to know that each small act of faithfulness is contributing to an invisible spiritual legacy, something that will erupt at precisely the moment I have ordained. There are things I cannot entrust to someone who merely acts out of emotion or seeks validation from others. But you, because you have remained faithful when no one was watching, because you have stood firm though no one defended you, you are being shaped by me for something far greater. You did not grow through applause, but through the quiet choices, through each moment you chose to walk in truth before me when no one else was aware. I see that you are not seeking the spotlight, but seeking my gaze. And for that, I will lead you into places reserved only for those who have proven faithful. In the shadows, you have poured your heart into doing what is right according to the understanding you had, and I treasure that deeply. I know you are not perfect. I know there have been moments when you've felt like a failure. But what I look at is not the immediate outcome. It is the posture of your heart. I do not measure you by human standards. I measure you by surrender, by authentic love, by obedience that flows from within, not out of coercion, but because you desire to please me. And that moves my heart. I saw you when you chose silence instead of responding to insults. I saw you when you withheld argument, though pain swirled inside. I saw you when you refused to retaliate in the ways of the world, and instead, you prayed in secret. You thought no one noticed, but I did. You believed it wouldn't matter, but in truth, every quiet choice you made has been composing a sacred love song that rises to heaven. So then, grace it and receive it into heaven. These small acts have laid a solid foundation for the house I am building in your life, a house of influence, of spiritual authority, a dwelling where I will abide with you and where others will find light through your presence. My child, continue living this way. Even when your surroundings seem unchanged, keep choosing kindness, even when misunderstood. Keep guarding your integrity, even when the wicked seem to prevail. For I am the one who sees from beginning to end, and I never overlook a single act born out of genuine faith. What you have done for me, even when the world forgets, I do not forget. I am storing every deed like treasure in my heart, and on the day of unveiling, all that you've done will be declared before heaven, and not one thing will be lost. Be strong, for your silence is not weakness, your kindness is not compromise, your forgiveness is not naivete. They are all evidence that you belong to me, that you have been taught by the Spirit, that you have chosen the narrow path most shy away from, and you, with a heart uncelebrated by men but clearly seen by me, will be the one I raise up at the appointed time. I will not allow your steadfastness to be forgotten. I will pour out a reward for that faithfulness in ways you cannot yet imagine. Doors you didn't dare knock on will open of their own accord. Prayers you whispered in solitude will be answered in the open. Things you once thought too weighty for your shoulders, I will place them in your hands because I know you are ready. So do not stop choosing what is right, even when it's hard. Do not stop keeping your heart pure, even when others are defiled. Do not stop praying, even when nothing seems to be happening. I am still here. I still see, and I am working, quietly, steadily, to bring you into higher places, not because you are more talented than others, but because you have been more faithful than most ever knew. And I, your Father, will never overlook the one who chose to love me in action when no one was watching. That is who you are. And I delight in you. My beloved child, there are things you cannot yet fully perceive with your natural eyes, but I, the one who sees all, am silently guarding you each day. While your attention is fixed on what your eyes are hoping for, I am protecting what your eyes have not yet seen. I am not only preserving your temporary life on this earth, but I am also safeguarding your eternal position by my side. What I do is not merely for your safety today, but so your soul will not stray down paths shrouded in confusion, and so that your destiny will not fall out of the divine flow I have orchestrated for you since before the foundations of the world were laid. I see every trap hidden along the way that may seem right to the natural eye, yet leads to spiritual misalignment. And many times I have gently pulled your hand away, not to harm you, but to rescue you from consequences you couldn't foresee. There are relationships I did not allow to continue, doors I did not permit to open, and dreams I delayed, not because I ignored your prayers, but because I could see the backdrop you could not. I have withheld early promotions from you, keeping you from places where your roots were not yet deep enough to stand. For a success not built on solid foundations becomes a burden, not a blessing. I love you too much to let you reach something at any cost, only for it to pull you away from me. I want to lift you up at the appointed time, when you carry not only the capability, but also the humility, the wisdom, and the readiness to let the glory belong to me and not to yourself. Have there been moments when your heart ached because what you longed for still hasn't come to pass? Have there been nights when you stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Why haven't I been chosen?" Have you ever asked, "Did I do something wrong that others are given what I'm still waiting for?" You've done nothing wrong. I hear every sigh uttered in your silence. I see your eyes sting with tears when an opportunity you thought was within reach slips away like the wind. I am not deaf to the questions you haven't dared to speak. And no, I have not abandoned you. I am deepening you, strengthening your roots, and drawing your heart closer to me rather than closer to what you desire. You think you're ready, but there are blessings that require inner maturity before they can be fully held. My delay is not a lack of love, but the very evidence of my deep love for you. If you receive something before its season, it may become an idol. But if you receive it in the right time, it becomes an instrument, a tool to express my love and faithfulness in your life and in the lives of those you will reach. And when that blessing arrives, you won't have to cling to it in fear, because you'll know it came from my hand, not your striving. Delay is a language of love. Through it, I am teaching you how to trust, how to release control, how to keep walking, even without all the answers. I know there are things you do not understand, perhaps things you never will in this life. But I promise that if you keep your heart upright, free from bitterness, and refuse to give up, you will see the meaning in it all. One day you will look back and say, "Thank you for not letting it happen too soon. Thank you for holding me back when I thought I'd been left behind." My child, do not let the success of others make you question your own worth. Do not let someone else's timeline rush you out of the sacred journey I've written uniquely for you. Each person is crafted by me with a distinct story. They are not a reflection of you, and you are not a copy of them. What I'm doing in you cannot be measured by the clocks of this world, for I am the God who works in eternity, and what I have begun, I will surely bring to completion at the right time. That moment will come. Not late, not early, but precisely as I have ordained. And when it arrives, you will understand why I kept saying "not yet" throughout the passing years. You will see that I did not make you wait to disappoint you. I made you wait so that you would become someone capable of holding what others can only admire from afar. I do not simply give blessings. I give my very self to you during the waiting, and that is the greatest reward you could ever receive. So keep trusting. Keep obeying even when nothing has manifested. Keep praying even when the answers remain silent. Keep offering your whole heart to me, because I am preparing something that not only aligns with the desires within you, but fulfills the very purpose for which I created you. When it comes, there will be no doubt, for my glory will rest upon it, and you will know with certainty this is a blessing no one can take away, for it comes directly from the hand of your heavenly Father. And you will know with certainty this is a blessing no one can take away, for it comes directly from the hand of your heavenly Father, and it will be beautiful, complete, enduring, far beyond what you have imagined. My beloved child, I know you've carried questions too heavy to put into words, silent doubts like muffled sobs buried deep inside. I know you have often judged yourself by your failures, wrong turns, and mistakes, believing they erased the worth I placed in you. But listen closely. I do not measure you by the times you've fallen. I do not define you by the wounds of your past. My eyes do not see you through the smoke of yesterday or the shadows of your weakest moments. I see you through the robe of righteousness, my son, who gave himself for you, has laid over your life. Whenever you think you are unworthy, remember that my grace is not based on your worthiness. It does not come because you are good enough, strong enough, or morally upright enough. It comes because I am good. I am the Father of mercy. It is in your weakest hour, in your exhaustion and confusion, that my grace reveals itself most perfectly. You are living, breathing, and still standing, not merely by your own strength, but by the unfailing love I have for you, and by the covering of righteousness that comes from above. That robe of righteousness not only conceals your failures, it renews your mind, restores your soul, and resurrects what you thought was long dead. Do you think I'm counting your faults one by one? No, I do not keep a record of how many times you've failed. I do not keep a file of all your moments of weakness. Instead, I am watching every step you take. I see the process. I see the quiet perseverance only I can truly witness. I see when you fall, but I also see when you choose to rise again, even with trembling hands. I see when you are tired, yet still choose to press forward, and it is that perseverance, not flawless, but sincere, that moves my heart. That is what I bless. That is what I use to shape a soul with spiritual strength, strong enough to step into the mission I have designed. You are not disqualified from my plan just because you made mistakes. You are not erased from my eternal will because you have been weak. The calling I have placed on your life is not based on performance. It is based on faithfulness. And if you keep trusting me, keep returning when you stray, keep opening your heart even when it hurts, then you are walking in the right direction, even if it doesn't feel like it. I do not require perfection. I desire surrender. I do not choose the so-called capable, but those who dare to take my hand and say, I am not enough, but you are. It is in failure that I am perfecting you. It is in the slow steps that I am building what will last. It is in those moments when you want to give up but keep going that I am laying the foundation for a life that cannot be shaken. Because you cannot truly comfort others until you have felt pain yourself. You cannot lead lost souls unless you have walked through the dark. You cannot become an instrument in my hand unless you have learned how to surrender in the midst of suffering. You cannot become an instrument in my hand unless you have learned how to surrender in the midst of suffering. Remember this. The ones I use most powerfully are not necessarily master teachers, nor those who have never stumbled. They are the ones who have fallen to the lowest depths, but chose to believe that I alone could raise them up again. They are the ones who have wept in hidden places, who have prayed in silence, who have pleaded through long nights, with no witness but me, and it was in that very darkness that they learned to hear my voice. They learned what true dependence means, and they became people who deeply know that the only strength they have comes from me, nothing more, nothing less. You don't need to understand everything that's happening. You don't need to explain every twist and turn. You only need to know that I understand, and when I understand, you can rest. You can release the questions that remain unanswered. Release the burdens of what once was. Release even the need to prove anything to the world. Let me be the one who proves it to you. Let me continue the story you thought was left unfinished. Let me restore, uphold, and use even the things you once deemed shameful to glorify my name. You are not defined by your past. You are named and known by the love I have for you. And that love does not shift when you walk through seasons of weakness. It does not fade when you make mistakes. It does not diminish when you feel unworthy. That love is the foundation of the healing and transformation I am quietly working within you day by day. So, my dear child, do not let your heart grow weary. Do not let what is still unfinished blur the beauty of what I'm building. You are not being shaped to become perfect. You are being refined to become anointed. One who carries my presence into places no one expects. And if you keep walking, by faith, in surrender, through love, then I promise you this: nothing you've endured will be wasted. No pain will be in vain. No tear will fall without purpose. For I am composing a divine symphony out of the very low notes you once wished to erase. And when that melody is complete, all of heaven will rise, not to applaud you, but to glorify the one who saved you, healed you, and made you a living testament to unchanging grace. You are easily shaken when everything around you becomes chaotic, when the things you once thought were solid begin to crack, when the plans you carefully laid start to unravel, when the people you trusted walk away or go silent. You begin to question not just your life, but me. You ask, are you still watching? Are you still listening? I've prayed, I've waited, I've remained faithful. So why has everything turned upside down? But my precious one, I need you to hear this clearly. What appears to be falling apart to you is fully held together in my absolute control. I am not surprised. I am not shaken. I am not confused like you imagine. Even in the very moment you feel most lost, I remain steadfast, unchanging, and sovereign. What looks like chaos through your eyes does not confuse me, because I do not view your life through the lens of the moment. I see it through the lens of the eternal blueprint I designed, and that plan is unfolding perfectly, down to the finest detail. You see closed doors and assume you've been rejected. You see prayers unanswered and think I'm being silent. You experience delay and conclude that you've been left behind. But remember this: I never do anything randomly. I never put it aside and forget. Every moment you feel paused is in fact part of a divine arrangement. Even the delays are strategic. Even the silence is intentional. Even what seems like nothing happening, those are the very moments when the most is being accomplished in the spirit realm. You think you are standing still, that everything is stagnant. But in the spirit there are deep movements unfolding, far beyond what your eyes can perceive. I am shifting things, piece by piece, people, environments, circumstances, to create a divine synchronization for your appointed hour. Do not be deceived by the appearance of stillness. Beneath the surface, roots are growing. Behind the veil, I am preparing the way. On the human level, you may not yet see a turning point, but in the spiritual realm, the walls are beginning to crack, the chains are decaying. The very things that once hindered you are now being cleared to make room for what I have ordained. There are things you once saw as failures that are actually the beginnings of a greater breakthrough. There were turns in your path that seemed like detours, but they were steps that led you to a crossroads of destiny, where I will redirect your life in ways you never expected. I waste nothing, not the dry seasons, not the tears you shed over your own mistakes. Everything is being woven together like pieces of a grand tapestry. And when the picture is complete, you will see that every shade had its rightful place. Stop trying to understand everything. There will be things that never make sense from your perspective, and that's okay, because I did not call you to understand. I called you to believe. True faith is not built on the ability to explain everything, but on the unshakable assurance that I am faithful, and I never break my promises. You may not see my hand at work, but that does not mean I am absent. On the contrary, in the moments you feel weakest, I am actually closest. I am surrounding you with invisible guidance, holding your hand when you lack the strength to take another step, standing before you as your shield, behind you as your support, and within you as peace that surpasses all understanding. My child, do not let your mind be deceived by what is temporary. Do not let the delays cause you to question my goodness. Do not let the silence blur your confidence that I am still working. For what you are walking through is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that something miraculous is being formed in the quiet. I am gathering the scattered fragments. I am bringing unity where there once was division. I am removing ancient chains you didn't even know you were carrying. And all of it, though unseen, though misunderstood, is unfolding under my command. Do not let your spirit be pulled into the panic of the world. Be still, quiet your heart. Know that I am God. the one who rules over nations, who orchestrates history, and who counts every tear you shed. What you thought was the end is really the first page of a new chapter. What you perceived as disappointment is actually clearing the way for divine advancement, and what you labeled as loss will become the testimony of my faithfulness when you arrive on the other side, the side you cannot yet see. So do not retreat out of fear. Do not stop because of emotion. Do not be shaken by what your eyes have yet to witness. Stand firm, not because you understand everything, but because you trust that I do. And if you continue to believe, if you keep walking, even if just one small step at a time, I promise you will enter what your heart once only dared to dream. Not because you calculated well, but because I, the Sovereign One, have been designing every detail of goodness for you in the time I have ordained, with a perfection you never imagined. And when that day comes, you will know. Nothing you went through was meaningless. No season was wasted. It all had a purpose. It was all done in love. And I, your Father, have held all things firmly in my hand. My beloved child, I know, yes, I truly know, that there are days when you feel as though you can't take another step. I see the weariness rising in your heart like an undercurrent, washing away the courage you've tried so hard to hold on to. I sense the weight your soul is carrying, unnamed responsibilities, unspoken wounds, hopes that seem to be flickering out in the shadow of things not yet come. You don't have to pretend to be strong before me. I do not love you for a false strength. I love you for who you are, for the heart that, though weary, still turns silently toward me. Perhaps you've come to the end of yourself. Perhaps your legs are trembling and your heart longs to let go. But, oh child, it is in that very moment that I do not stand afar off. I do not watch in silence like a distant God. No, I am right beside you, closer than your own breath. I do not merely see your burden. I bend low and lift it with you. When your shoulders sink beneath the weight, I do not rebuke your weakness. I reach out and hold you tightly, and I whisper into the depths of your soul, do not be afraid. Your Father is here. I know this journey feels too long for your strength alone. I know you've prayed, waited, hoped, and still, nothing seems to change. But I have not overlooked your quiet endurance. It is your faithfulness in the small and unseen that has moved my heart. And now I am doing what only I can do. I am renewing you from the inside out. Not through grand displays, but by the living power of my Spirit. Just when you believe you have nothing left, I am breathing into your soul a new wind. Gentle yet mighty, soothing yet full of divine power. It is no longer your strength at work, but the supernatural strength of heaven. You will run and not grow weary, not because your body is strong, but because I will give you wings of faith. You will walk and not stumble, not because the path is easy, but because I will hold your hand through every twist and turn. You will cross the wilderness, not because you hold a clear map, but because I am the river in the dry land. I am the shade in the scorching place. I am the breath of life in every breathless moment. Do not believe your emotions when they tell you that you're alone. Do not trust the silence and mistake it for my absence. For I have never left you, not for a single moment. When you think you're walking alone, that is the very moment I am walking closest. When your prayer is only a broken sob, I am the one who translates every tear into the language of heaven. When you have no words left, I am your voice. When your faith is dim as a flickering flame, I am the fire that keeps it burning. When your mind is clouded with doubt, I am the unshakable certainty within you. I am your light when you cannot see the way ahead. And that light not only guides your steps, it shatters the darkness within you. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I appear. I am the light that has always been present in the night, waiting for you to turn and look. And when you do, you'll begin to see everything shift, not because your circumstances have changed, but because your heart is now warmed by my presence. I am your anchor in a sea that rages around you. When everything around you trembles, your emotions, your surroundings, the words of others, I am the place where you can fasten yourself, the foundation that never moves. The things you once thought were secure may collapse, but I will not. When others turn away, I remain. When doors close, I still hold the keys. When dreams fall apart, I still preserve the purpose. Let me quiet your soul. Let go of the need to strive in your own strength. Allow me to fight for you, to restore what was broken, to continue writing the story you once thought was lost. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. And most certainly, you are not walking alone. When the sun sets and everything seems to fall into darkness, remember, it is merely the transition into a new day, and I am the one who brings you into that dawn, with steady hands, with a heart full of love, and with a plan that never fails. Even when you are weary, do not give up. Even when you feel depleted, lean on me. I will uphold you. I will carry you when your strength gives out. And in time, you will look back and say, "It was the Father who sustained me. It was He who kept me from falling. It was His touch that renewed me, so I could step into the wonders prepared for my life." My beloved child, I see the silent pain that lingers in your heart when you are misunderstood, when your words are twisted, when your purity is doubted, and your sincerity is distorted by others. I know how it chips away at your heart, not because you crave applause, but because you've lived truthfully, loved genuinely, and done what was right with all you had. And yet, the return has often been cold stares, unfair words, and sometimes a silent departure with no explanation. You've tried to understand why. You've questioned yourself, wondering if you did something wrong, if you were not good enough, if you were too naive. But I am here to tell you, you were not wrong for loving sincerely. You were not a failure for walking in integrity. Do not let your soul be shaken by the silence or coldness of people. Do not let the harsh voices of this world steal the peace within you. For I am the one who sees into the depths of your heart. Not a single whisper from you in the night goes unnoticed. Not a single motive turned toward me is forgotten. When the world may question your worth, heaven still knows exactly who you are. And there, in the unshakable kingdom, your honor remains untouched. There, your faithfulness resounds as a song of praise amid the chaos of the world. You do not need to defend yourself. You do not have to struggle to protect your name. Reputation is built by men. but true honor is bestowed by me. And once honor comes from me, no accusation can tarnish it. I myself will rise and stand on your behalf. I will vindicate you in the appointed time, not early, not late. People may turn their backs today, but when I reveal the truth, you will rise in glory, needing no explanation. Those who misunderstood you will bow their heads at the light I will reveal through your life. You do not need to respond out of emotion. You do not need to speak when your heart is overwhelmed. I am teaching you a higher way of living, where words do not flow from a wounded soul, but from the Holy Spirit alive within you. I am training you to remain silent when needed, and to speak at the right moment. Not every battle requires a reply. Sometimes, silence becomes the greatest declaration of faith. Sometimes, a gentle word is not meant to win an argument, but to reveal my heart to a broken world. Learn to listen to the rhythm of the Spirit, so that your words are not triggered by offense, but stirred by divine love. Learn to walk in spiritual sensitivity, so that your silence is not driven by fear, but by obedience. When you live this way, you will no longer depend on the approval or applause of people. You will step into true freedom. Freedom in the Spirit, where every reaction flows from my leading, not from the surging emotions within you. My child, I know that being misunderstood wounds you more deeply than you dare to admit. It makes you want to retreat, to build walls around your heart, to stop loving, stop giving, and stop trusting. But don't let that wound close off your spirit. Don't let disappointment shape you into the image of the world. You were not called to retaliate. You were called to reflect. Reflect my light, the light that never dims, even when surrounded by shadows. And when you keep loving even after being hurt, when you remain faithful even while being misjudged, when you continue to do what is right even without recognition, that is when you resemble me the most. I too was accused falsely. I stood silent before the courts of men. But resurrection answered every lie spoken, and that same resurrection will be the eternal proof that truth never dies. For you as well. Everything good that the world tried to bury under layers of doubt, I will raise again. I will restore your honor in such a way that even your critics will be silenced. So continue to keep your heart pure. Keep walking unburdened by the weight of criticism. Stand firm in love, even when it is not returned. Let me be the one who defends you. Let your silence be the doorway through which I step in and reveal myself clearly. You don't need to fight for your name. I am your righteous judge. You don't need to fear the loss of reputation. I am the keeper of your name in the book of life. You are being refined to step into a higher dimension, where spiritual maturity is no longer measured by how many words you speak, but by the discernment to know when to be silent and when to speak. And in that discernment, I am shaping you into a vessel of weight, not merely to speak what is true, but to speak what is needed at the right time, to the right heart. So do not be discouraged when others do not understand you. I understand, and that is enough. When the world misinterprets, but heaven affirms, the reward you receive will not come from human hands, but from my own heart. And that reward will never fade. My beloved, I know there are moments when you wonder, am I heading the wrong way? Have I drifted away from God's plan? I've heard those questions rise quietly within you. Questions that seem small but carry a heaviness that weighs on your heart. But today I want you to know something. Not just with your mind, but to let your soul grasp it as an unshakable truth. You are not in the wrong place. You are not lost. Where you stand today, though it may not resemble the dreams you once held in your heart, is the very ground I have chosen to meet with you. Well, this is not a meaningless season. This is not an accidental detour. This is holy ground, marked not by thrilling emotions but by my faithful presence. You are walking on sacred soil, consecrated by silent prayers and hidden tears. It may feel barren, isolated, and lacking in clear assurance, but right there, I am sowing into you what no mountaintop could ever give. I do not need to lift you to lofty heights to show you who I am. I am present in each small step, in every seemingly ordinary moment. I am teaching you a sacred lesson, that my presence is not confined to miracles, thunder, or fire on the mountain. I am the God not only of breakthroughs, but of the quiet days that seem to hold no significance. I appear not only in blazing revivals, but also in the stillness of washing dishes, in the tenderness of caring for your child, in the unnoticed walks down familiar roads where no one waves. It is in these hidden, nameless places that I have chosen to reveal myself. If you will pause, observe, and open your heart, you are still waiting for me to arrive in the brilliance of the extraordinary. But perhaps the extraordinary is quietly hidden within the ordinary. I am there. When you reread a familiar scripture and, this time, it brings you to tears. I am there. In the gentle smile of a stranger whose name you never got to ask. I am there. In the soft reminder that comes just as you are about to let go. I am there. In the morning birdsong. In the sunlight breaking through your window. In the spontaneous hug from a child. In the stillness that rises above 1,000 sounds. The issue is not my absence. The issue is that you're waiting for me to appear in the ways you've known before, and so you don't recognize me showing up in new forms. You keep seeking grand visions, clear missions, wide open doors. But know this. Before I place you in the open, I always bring you into the hidden, not to punish you but to teach you how to see the unseen. Not to make you give up but to sharpen your spiritual eyes so you can recognize me, even when the whole world sees nothing. Where you stand today is my silent classroom. There I am teaching you to distinguish my voice from the noise of the world. There I am training you to trust my leading even when you see no visible signs. There I am strengthening your faith, not because you always see clearly, but because you know clearly who I am. And it is here that I am laying within you an unshakable foundation, so that when the season of miracles arrives, you will not be swept away by the whirlwind of success or applause. You still think I only appear in the thunder. But I once spoke to Elijah through a gentle whisper. I once walked with 2 men on the road to Emmaus, and they did not recognize me until I broke the bread. In the same way, you may not recognize me right now, but when you look back, you will see my footprints all over your journey. Every step, every day, every quiet moment. You will understand that no time was ever wasted, no place was ever in vain, no day was ever empty. Every moment bears eternal value when I am present in it. Bolanen, so do not despise the dry season. Do not reject the quiet place. Do not assume you've lost your way simply because nothing grand seems to be happening. You may not be seeing massive changes, but within your heart, the deepest layers are being awakened. You may not notice it, but the roots of your faith are reaching deeper than ever before. And one day, flowers will bloom and fruit will come. But the most precious thing won't be the results. It will be the communion you've built with me in faithfulness. You are not in the wrong season. You are not in the wrong place. You are not late. You have missed nothing. Every step you take, every seemingly ordinary day, is within the divine process I have ordained. And if you will quiet your soul, you will begin to notice me in every glance, every smile, every breeze brushing across your face. You will realize, I am still speaking, I am still here, not just to lead you to mountaintops, but to walk beside you, every step, every day. Even in the places no one else sees. My beloved, you may not yet see clearly what is forming inside you, but I see it. You are growing, not in the ways the world measures, with spotlight or dazzling success, but in depth, in inner strength, in spiritual richness that only I can fully perceive. Perhaps you don't feel the transformation each day because it doesn't arrive with fanfare. It comes in silence, like a seed buried in the soil, invisible to the eye. Yet beneath the surface, it's sending roots deeper, spreading wider, rising slowly, preparing for a glorious breakthrough. I know, my child, that you've asked yourself many times, am I really making progress? Are all these quiet efforts leading to anything at all? And when you look around and see others advancing, being recognized, being blessed, your heart circles back to that same lingering question. Am I moving too slowly? Am I not good enough? But I am here to silence every comparison and remind you of a truth that must be etched into the depths of your soul. Growth does not always come with drums and banners. More often, it arrives in the shadows, in the tears, in the unseen nights. And that is precisely why I cherish you more than anyone could ever comprehend. I have seen it all. I saw the mornings when you woke up with a heavy heart, yet still chose to pray. I saw the times you had to convince yourself to trust me, even when there was no evidence left to justify belief. I watched the nights when you wept quietly in the dark, but still whispered, I'm still here, Lord. I know about the temptations that tried to pull you away, and how you chose instead to stand your ground. I have witnessed every inner wrestling in your soul, the ones no one else ever saw, the ones no one ever applauded. But heaven has taken note. You are not growing because life has gotten easier, but because you are learning how to remain steadfast in the midst of what hasn't changed. You are maturing because you no longer react out of emotion, but are learning to be led by my Spirit. You are no longer chasing comfort from the world, but are seeking affirmation from me alone. And that, my child, is the sign of a soul that is taking deep root in me. A soul no longer swayed by the winds of emotion, but anchored in the unchanging love of its Creator. Do not measure your progress by what human eyes can see. What is most precious in you is not found in what others praise, but in what you do when no one is watching. No one knows how hard it was for you to keep going. No one knows how close you came to letting go. No one fully understands the weariness of your heart when you kept loving kept believing, kept obeying, even when no reward was in sight. But I know. And more than that, I am proud of you. Not because you've always been right, not because you've never felt weak, but because you didn't give up. I am proud of you because every time you fell, you chose to rise again. I am proud of you for keeping your heart tender, rather than letting bitterness harden your soul. I delight in you because you still chose to love, even after being wounded. You still chose to trust, even after disappointment. You still chose to walk forward, even when you thought you had no strength left. These things, not accomplishments, not outward glory, are what cause heaven to rejoice with unspeakable joy. And because you didn't turn your back, because you didn't surrender in the darkness, I say this to you with a certainty as sure as my very breath: the harvest will come. Not a fleeting or shallow harvest, but a bountiful and complete one, where every tear you've sown will blossom into sweet and lasting fruit. Not a superficial reward, but a recognition from my own hand, and a confirmation that cannot be shaken. You have been faithful with little. Now I will set you over much. Maybe you haven't seen the doors open at the moment you hoped they would. Maybe you've not yet witnessed the fulfillment of the promise. But my child, in every seemingly silent day, I have been preparing the fields for harvest. I have been softening the soil. I have been shifting the atmosphere. I have been arranging what no one can ever take from you. Because it was not born of the striving of flesh, but of union with my spirit. Keep persevering. Keep being faithful. Believe that not a single moment in this journey is wasted, for you are being shaped by the loving hands of the one who has seen the end from before your beginning. And I did not make a mistake when I chose you. I was never in a rush, but I am never late, and one day, not far from now, you will stand in the fullness of what I have prepared for you since eternity past. And you will weep, but this time, not from pain, but because you will realize it was worth it. Every step, every second, every time I chose not to give up, it was truly worth it. My beloved, do not let the light of others make you doubt the path I am leading you on. Every soul I have created carries a divine timeline, etched before the foundation of the world. Not a single heartbeat of yours falls into nothingness, and not one step is lost in the crowd. I do not write your story according to someone else's measure, nor do I weigh your progress by the fleeting standards this world exalts. The journey you are walking is not a competition, it is an invitation. An invitation to go deeper into my good and perfect will, where there is no comparison, no hurry, only the gentle leading of a loving Father. Do not look to the left or to the right. Do not let the success of others make you feel late or lacking. Remember, I do not distribute seasons equally to everyone. Others may be in a season of harvest while you are still being planted. They may be receiving fruit while you are digging your roots deep. But is it not the deep roots that keep a tree standing when the storm comes? Is it not the hiddenness of this season that will protect your soul when the light begins to shine on your life? You think you are being delayed, forgotten, but no, I am still at work, silently, yet surely. It is in the stillness that I mold you. It is in the days that seem unchanged, where I am laying the strong foundations for something far greater than you can imagine. I am not in a hurry, but I am never idle. My plans never miss their appointed time. And when I speak, heaven and earth move to see my word fulfilled. So do not fear the delay. Trust in the perfection of the timing I have chosen. In truth, many times you think you are waiting for me to make a way, but you do not realize that it is I who have been waiting patiently for you. I am waiting for you to pause amid the confusion, to release what you still try so hard to control. I see you clinging to your own expectations, dreams shaped by human ideals, plans you believe will bring love and recognition. But what you do not realize is that these very things are the ones hindering you from stepping fully into my design. I am waiting for you to open your hands, not because I want to take something from you, but because I long to place something better in them, something deeper, something more enduring than you ever imagined. I am waiting for you to let me be your guide, not just in thought, but in the reality of each day. I am waiting for you to stop striving in your own strength and to begin resting in grace. I never intended for you to carry your burdens alone. From the moment you were formed, I have been the one bearing them with you. Every tear, every sigh, every sleepless night, I have known them all. But you were never meant to carry it all. I did not create you to live in anxiety, but to live in trust, not to bend under the weight of what cannot be seen, but to learn to let go into the hands of the one who holds everything together. Bring that burden to me, not just with words, but with genuine surrender. Give me not only what feels overwhelming, but also what you've been trying so hard to keep in your own hands. Your plans, your expectations, even the fears you've never dared to speak aloud. Let me hold them. I am not distant. I am not indifferent. I am the one who sits beside you through the long nights and walks with you into every dawn, and I have never left. You have never been abandoned. When you stop, when you take a deep breath and whisper, "Lord, I can't do this alone anymore," that is not failure. That is the moment you truly step into victory. For in your weakness, my power is made perfect. While you pause, I step in. While you are silent, I speak. In surrender, you are lifted up. You don't have to understand everything. You only need to hold on to this truth. You are loved with an unchanging, unconditional love. A love that doesn't demand you to always be strong, doesn't expect you to always be right, and doesn't require you to constantly accomplish something great. This love simply calls you to come closer, to rest, and to trust. Let me do my part. Let me tend to your soul, mend the broken places, and lift you up with my own hands. Because when you lay down your burdens, I will carry you. When you stop striving, my grace will begin to move. And you will see, not with your reasoning, but with your spirit, that I am the faithful one, never late, always exact, always knowing what you need and when you need it. So, my child, rest. Stop the struggle. I am waiting for you, not to scold but to embrace, not to condemn but to restore, not to demand but to pour out. And when you step away from comparison, release burdens that were never yours to carry, and lay down the labels others placed upon you, you will feel lighter, clearer, and more ready than ever for the very thing I prepared for you since before the foundation of the world. Your journey is not delayed. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be, and I am here, right beside you. Brother, I see you, and I make it me. I will always be here. Now, offer me your sincere prayer. Say this with your whole heart. Lord, I bow in holy reverence before your infinite wisdom and holiness. As you begin to remove 4 things from my life, grant me a heart that is willing and tender. Help me not to cling to what has run its course, not to mourn over what no longer fits into your divine plan. I may not fully understand, but I choose to trust. Let my faith be greater than my emotions, and let my surrender be deeper than my attachments. I choose to believe that everything you take away is making room for something better, more pure, more sacred, more eternal. Lord, when you strip away the false comforts I once turned to in order to avoid truth, please don't let my heart fall into confusion. Teach me to face the truth with humility and courage. If my schedules, habits, or patterns of living are numbing my spirit, gently remove them. Give me a life that is spiritually awake, not sedated by familiarity, not distracted by appearances. Let my heart be touched by your Holy Spirit, that I may live in the reality of my calling, not just survive within the illusion of safety. Lord, if there are relationships that no longer belong in the journey ahead, please help me release them with gratitude, not with bitterness. I know you see what I cannot. I know that some people were placed in my life for only a season, not a lifetime. Grant me divine discernment so that I won't try to hold on to what you are removing. Keep my heart from breaking over the separation, and instead let me find wholeness in walking rightly within your plan. Heal every empty place with the fullness of your presence. Lord, I bring before you the hidden fear that has reigned in my mind like an invisible master. I admit that I gave it room, calling it prudence, discernment, or wisdom. But now I recognize it for what it truly is: bondage. Send fire from heaven to consume every residue of that fear. Let me walk not by insecurity, but by the assurance of your voice. Place in me the courage of a deeply loved child, so I may live in truth and not in the shadows of doubt. Lord, I know there is an opportunity I've been stubbornly clinging to, a door I've kept knocking on even though you closed it long ago. Today I surrender. Help me not to look back, not to re-examine, not to revive hope for something you have already let pass. Shut that door with your mercy, not to destroy, but to rescue me from a path that was never mine. Teach me to believe that you are not only closing doors, but also opening a new way, one where I will clearly see your good, pleasing, and perfect will for me. Lord, as May arrives with its tremors, losses, and unforeseen changes, please guard my heart from being swept away by the storm. Let me stand firm in the peace that surpasses all understanding. When others are confused, let me remain anchored in the clarity that comes from the secret place. When systems collapse, let me behold your unshakable kingdom. I know you are stirring not to drown, but to deliver. Grant me ears to hear your direction, eyes to see the marks of your hand, and a heart that obeys even when nothing is yet visible. Lord, I thank you that your pruning is not to harm me, but to make me fruitful in abundance. I thank you for loving me enough not to let me live forever in half measures. I thank you that today's loss is tomorrow's liberation. Though this month may bring the unexpected, I am confident you are right there, in the wind, in the flowing waters, in every turning of the season. I give thanks because you are preparing me for something far beyond imagination, and I choose to trust you with each step you lead. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If you love the Lord, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any life-giving messages from Him. Together, we will grow in faith and live a life fully immersed in His love. Amen.